RJ, wake up! Wake up, RJ! Got really bad news.
What happened? I'm sitting in front of you. My eyes aren't even closed.
Look at the cover of the newspaper. Full spread. Rick.
Oh, why do you have to fully spread while you show me the newspaper?
Rick is dead. That's why. Why else would I spread? I don't spread in front of you unless someone dies.
Oh, that's true. Wow, Rick of all people, dead.
Yeah,
We already knew that. He's been dead and undead for centuries.
that's right. Van Helsing came and actually took care of him for good now. He's dust.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, we're not gonna be
Well, so is it just you and me now, or what are we doing?
well, I was working a middle way through a case with Rick, and then he just goes and dies. So I kind of need help because I'm not smart. And so I
That's
hired
very true. Yeah,
yeah, I hired some
you're dumb and
subcontractors.
I'm unhelpful. Yeah.
That's true. Rick was the only smart one here, so I hired two very smart ladies to come help us out with the case today. Subcontractors.
Cool.
Yeah, they advertise themselves as lesbian detectives, so I was like, we got to hire that.
Great. So are they the ones who've been sitting right next to you while you've been spreading your legs like a maniac?
Yeah, I figured they're cool with me spreading because
Cool.
they're lesbians.
Uh, that's a strange assumption to make about anybody for any reason.
So yeah, I've been following some of their cases, and they do pretty much the same thing we do, but just like not let's say a serious way. They do it in a serious way, but they like to speculate.
Cool.
They just that's what we do. We just solve the case just by fucking guessing. They speculate a bunch in it too, so I love that.
Yeah,
And
we call it theories. And basically, I give mine, she gives her. Sometimes we agree, sometimes we disagree. But at the end of the day, like it could be outrageous, but it's just every possibility that we can think of, we'll bring it out there. Mhm.
has a where dingo ever made it into one of your episodes as a theory?
Not yet.
Hmm.
It's always a possibility.
Okay, well, the where dingo comes up a lot around here.
Yeah, they're not in that region of Texas.
Yeah.
That's all.
But yeah, if you guys want to go listen to someone who does what we do just in a more serious tone, if you're sick of our shenanigans, go listen to them. Even if you're not sick of our shenanigans, go listen to them too. Their podcast is called Lesbian Detectives. They're going to be helping us out today solve this case.
Are you gonna have like an actual introduction, like with human names and everything? Or was that just it,
You
just the
you,
show and then
you were
that's
going to do that.
I was gonna do that?
You said I was going to give the names. That's what you said earlier.
I've just been sitting here across from you with your legs spread open. This is all news to me.
Well, Sierra and what was the other name? Catherine?
Elizabeth.
Elizabeth. God damn it. Do we go by Lizzie?
That
Catherine.
wasn't even fucking close.
Nowhere near close at all.
I am not smart.
Yeah. So I'm Elizabeth, and that's Sierra. We're married.
That's awesome. I was literally going to call
Well,
you Elizabeth. I was going to call you Catherine again. I was going to do it. I was literally going to do it. She went, I'm Elizabeth. I'm like, oh, yeah, it is Elizabeth, not Catherine.
My mother-in-law called me Olivia, so I was like, okay, I'll take it.
great.
It's
Cool.
okay.
Do we go with the full Elizabeth when we're addressing you, or is it
You could
just
you could do Liz. Some people do Liz.
nice?
Shorter.
Nice. Do we do Era? C?
Nah.
Pierre?
No.
Sierra, then fine.
An elite team of private detectives.
What if balloons are aliens? Maybe that's the key component we're missing.
Cover-ups.
John's guilty.
Mysteries that need to be solved.
Maybe Mormons need mountains.
Richard, shut up.
I haven't been on our YouTube channel in a while, and I had a bunch of comments on Madeline McCann specifically. And there's 3 or 4 people that want our YouTube shut down. So if you want to go to YouTube, check that out, why it should be shut down. That'd be awesome. Go sign up for that.
Oh man, I did not know this. I'm here and I'm engaged, but I am also gonna be looking at that while we're doing.
I want to look too.
If you want to go check out the YouTube, there is some extra stuff on there for the listener. Just go check out Private Dicks on YouTube. It got a little extra, like video stuff. Just clips. So go check that out. I thought it was funny because I haven't been there in a while and I saw the comments, so I figured I'd bring it up for us. Just to get this started, I was talking with Sierra. She was looking for a like promo swap, stuff like that on the internet. And I saw lesbian detectives and I was like, this is amazing because we're private dicks. It just feels
Right.
like this fits.
Like the
So-
wrong dinner.
I messaged her and asked her if she wanted to do a promo swap. We did that. And then I asked her if she wanted a guest on the show. She also did that. And I also told her, give us a case so you can hire us like we typically do. And they definitely hired us they gave me the case of two little boys who went missing from a foster care home, or I guess like more of a group home. And it's the disappearance of James Eric Bess and Chipley Sanders. And what I got from Sierra was and I told her not to look into it, so let's not, she had no clue what's going on here. And she just gave me a Facebook post, I guess, with two little boys' faces and saying, porch light stays on until we find these boys. So I went and looked at it and I was like, oh fuck, this is gonna be sad for sure, guaranteed. I'll just show you guys the picture so you can see what she sent me here, so you can understand what my first thoughts of like, wow, this is gonna be sad as shit. They moved everything on Zoom. I can't figure out how to share. Boom. Okay. So just had these two little boys on the screen with like a Facebook post or whatever. And like, you look at that, and you're like, that shit's gonna be sad for sure. Like 100%. Two little guys like that, they're 11 or 12, 13, I think.
Yeah, what did they do?
We'll get into it, but they didn't do anything. What do you mean what they do?
What
Oh,
happened to
I
them?
assumed they were the suspects. Is that not the case?
No, they're the kids. That keep
Oh, all right. Sorry.
Yeah. RJ, anyone under the age of 15 is a suspect, RJ.
Yeah, I don't trust them. They're all little and they don't talk right. It's creepy.
Yeah, the little chubby white kid is Chipley Sanders.
Shut the fuck up. That's not his name.
Chipley Sanders, yeah. Chipley.
Chipley Sanders. It's like it's oh my God, it's like a black and white sitcom just threw him up. Like Chipley Sanders.
He does sound like he should be like in a black and white television show where the mom's just stay at home and the dad goes out 9 to 5 for sure.
Yeah, like I've never seen Leave It to Beaver, but I'm 99% sure that was his best friend.
Yeah. Or it's like the other Chipley Beaver. That's not good.
Yeah.
Chipley Sanders. Yeah, Chipley is the little white kid. The black one's name is James Bess. Like I said,
Yeah, a
after
normal
looking-
name for a
Yeah.
human.
for sure, for sure. I don't even know what Chipley like. Where does that come from? Like, is that short for
I
something?
have no idea. Like, because it's like it's got two things going for it. Like it's Lee, which is like Stanley is like a full name. You know what I mean? Like I feel like I don't know what Chip is actually short for, but I feel like the parents were like, well, we want to call him Chip, so obviously we all know the full name of Chip is Chip Lee, and that's
Yeah.
just not true.
I've never met a Chip. I know Chip's a name, but I've never met one.
Yeah,
You know,
Me either.
I feel like nowadays, if you did meet a Chip, they'd be 82.
Right.
It's Charles, Richard, or Christopher. That's
Richard.
usually called Chip.
Richard? Why Richard? We're Richard.
I don't know. I don't know how you get Dick from Richard either, but
Well,
I get
Rick.
asked nicely, right?
So yeah, so all I get from Sierra
Mhm.
is this Facebook post, and I was like, this is gonna be sad. And then after I look into this is super fucking sad, and not in the way you think. Okay, I mean, it's also sad in the way you think. It's two missing kids, but it's sadder in a different way. So let me get into it for you guys here. Let's give a little backstory. So James Eric Bess was born on December 18th, 1969. I'm not sure if he was born in Louisville, Kentucky, but it says that he grew up there. He has two siblings. He was described as a good kid, but they also said that he got himself into trouble, but like not in the like boys will be boys kind of trouble, more like enough to get you put into like juvie trouble kind of thing. Like burn shit. I don't know what he did exactly. I just know that you don't get sent to like a group home for like, I don't know, getting a fight every once in a while. You know what I mean? Or whatever. Like I feel like you must have done something pretty bad. In September 1984, at 14, Bess was sent to the Ashland group home for causing this trouble. Yeah, like I don't know what that means. Like I don't know what the trouble is. I kept looking. I couldn't figure out why he was sent there. You got to be pretty bad for your parents to be like, I can't take care of you. You're going to a foster home. You know, like a group home. His parents still around. His parents were around. At this home, he meets another kid named Chipley. He meets his little buddy named Chipley. Chipley Charles Sanders. So his middle name was Charles. They should have just went Charles. They wanted Chip. They really wanted it.
No. No. Are you sure it's not like Charles, like in quotes?
I am not 100% sure, but they've definitely pressed the Chipley a lot.
Well, no, yeah, even so, nobody fucking goes with Chipley. They just go with Chip. I'm sorry. This is just going to become the whole episode for me. It's no longer about what happened to this boy. It's how the fuck did they name him that?
And then go with the name Charles. Like, how do you do that? Chip, then Charles. It doesn't go together. Doesn't flow.
No, it doesn't.
I can understand how you get Dick from Richard because Rick, Dick, you know, like Rick, like it's like a double step away from being like shortened. But like Chip, I don't get it. It's just the ch sound.
No, I'm doing my best to like pay attention to this episode, but I'm already Googling like people with the first name Chipley, and I'm getting nothing.
It's probably just this kid that pops up, honestly. So Chip was born. I'm not gonna call him Chip. It's not his name. Chipley was born on April 20th.
You gotta government name him Chipley.
He was born April 20th, 1971. I know that's I changed it to Sanders the whole episode because I couldn't stand. I kept writing Chipley. I'm like I'm gonna get too screwed up by Chipley the whole time. So when I say Sanders, I mean Chipley. So just so you know, RJ. So when you get mad about Chipley, I just
All
won't
right,
say it a bunch.
no, it's fair enough. It's fair enough. Just an FYI, his age progression photo on this website, he's not doing so good wherever he is.
I'll show the age progression to you guys after too. I know he has at least one sibling, maybe more. And I know that he and his sibling were orphaned in some way, and they were adopted by Charles and Victoria Sanders in Radcliffe, Kentucky in 1980. His original last name was Lay, so he was Chipley Lay.
No, this is fake.
It's not. I'm serious. His original last name was Lay. He was born
This
a chip baron. He was born a
I know what's happened. These episodes have been on a delay. This one comes out April 1st. Ha ha. You got it.
I'm serious. I was like, is he like the heir to the Lay fuck? Like, is that why he's Chipley? Like they wanted to make him the mascot for the chips, for
Sound
Lay's
like it.
chips. Anyways, I'm guessing Chipley was also a troublemaker because he was sent to Ashland Group Home in 1983. So when Bess met Sanders at the group home, Sanders had already been there, living there for about a year. Now, this group home is located at the 1300 block of 13th Street in Ashland, Kentucky. I tried to look that up on Google Maps. It is literally a highway. Like, there's nothing on that block, so it must be gone now. But at some point, there was something there. Less than 2 weeks after of Bess living there, it sounds like Bess wanted to run away. Chipley'd been there for about a year, but Bess only lasted 2 weeks before he's like, let's get out of here. Chipley decides he's going to go with him. James Eric Bess, who was 14, and Chipley Sanders, who was 13, run away from the group home in the early morning of October 4th, 1984. They managed to slip out, and they remained undetected for a few hours in Ashland, or in a nearby town, not Ashland. I don't know what the town is. I tried to figure it out too. Their escape didn't last long as they were apprehended by police and returned to the group home in Ashland. That same exact night, the kids slipped out again, or at least that's what the group home claims, that the kids left that night. They never been seen or heard from again. At the time of their disappearance, Bess was 5'6", 110 pounds. He was wearing a denim jacket, sports shirt, blue jeans, and some gray shoes. He has an odd color eyes, gray blue, with brown hair. He has a scar on his right arm just above his hand, a scar on the right side of his waist, and a scar above his elbow. Chipley Sanders was a little more stout than Bess. He was 5'5", weighing 150 pounds. He had brown hair, hazel brown eyes. Chipley also has an oblong birthmark on his back over his shoulder, and it's lighter than his normal skin. Doesn't mention anywhere what Chipley was wearing when he was missing. They did do an age progression, like RJ said, to their faces in 2021 to make them approximately 50. So I'll show you guys that one too. So that's what they should be looking like these days, according to age progression. Which, remember when I used to do age progression from like Unsolved Mysteries? It didn't look this good. Like these look pretty fucking like actual people.
Right.
Yeah, no, I think they did their best. It doesn't change the fact that Chipley's photo looks like he's like a reformed drug addict with like new teeth. He's
I
like
agree.
doing well and working at McDonald's now.
I turned
Like
my
he's like doing like the bare minimum a person does, but you're like really proud of him because of how awful he was doing before.
Yeah, you're not wrong. It's so true. Like that, the crow's feet on the side of his eyes just make him look like he's one fucking mistake away from a crack pipe. You're not wrong.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, they age progressed them, made them look about 50. You can look those up. I'll post it in the thing. Now, I looked at Reddit for this. Okay, I'm like, I'm gonna have to hit Reddit. Usually, I don't hit Reddit that much unless I'm really shy on information. So I go to see what I can find there, and there's a thread dedicated to Bess and Sanders. In the thread, there was a user claiming to be Bess's sister, and she adds a little bit more info to the case, but who knows if she's even who she says she is? It's fucking Reddit. So she said her brother was sent to the group home for quote unquote disciplinary reasons, and after only 2 weeks of being there, his mom, Sarah, Bess, called the home to arrange a visit, and that's how they found out that James was missing. Nobody called them. Not one person from the group home called the family and said this kids were gone.
I can see that.
You can see that, yeah. That's
I can see
actually
it.
it's a very sad world where you're like, yeah, I know, that makes sense. Like, you know what I mean? Like that shouldn't be
Yeah.
Yeah.
The sister also claims that her mother has now entered her blood into the CODA system so that they can find him through DNA if that ever happens. So the DNA is out there. She also had at the same time her brother went missing. James was believed to have a baby on the way. So like 14 years old, having sex with a girl in the neighborhood, apparently. Super young for that. But maybe that, and she acknowledged that in the post, but maybe that's why they sent him off to disciplinary. That was the disciplinary thing. Like, stop
That
hanging
does
with
not match
I
the crime,
super
I
weird.
guess.
They
It's,
usually send the girl away, but not the boy.
Yeah.
The boy used to like live his life, and the girl just gets sent away to like a little home, have a baby, and come back.
Like
That's
nothing
true.
happened.
That's true. The guy usually just 14 though, like that's so young. So anyways, his mom apparently caught him trying to have sex with a girl. She claims like the sister claims she didn't give her name. She has a fucking weird username. She claims that she doesn't remember who the girl was. I feel like you would know this. Like if you knew this
Right.
girl, like you would know that part of it. But anyways,
He didn't have a baby or something. Like, what happened to the baby?
exactly. She doesn't even know if the kid girl had the baby, kept the baby, whatever. She knows nothing because people were definitely grilling her on it, and she was
Yeah.
full AMA on the whole thing.
That's fucking nuts. Like, I don't have kids, but I feel like at some point I would jot down the name of the girl my son inseminated.
Yeah, especially when they're 14. Like, I
Right,
don't
yeah,
you-
like
And you caught them.
exactly. You know the girl. It's not like this kid has a wide reach. He's 14. Like you know like their circle, or at least somewhat. Someone in their circle would know who
Well,
this girl was.
and based on this story, you know she's probably got a memorable name like Pretzely or something.
Oh Lord.
It shouldn't be hard to remember.
Saltine Salamander, the fucking lady. Anyways,
Yeah.
you're not wrong. The sister also says in this big long thread that her brother in the 40, it was about 45 years when he'd been missing, had never reached out, and that she's looking for him. They've been worried sick for the amount of time he's been gone. And that's all I could find on the internet. Just over 800 words is all I could dig up about two kids who disappeared from a group home over 40 years ago. That's why this shit's super sad. Nothing except for a few websites like the Charlie Project and a few subreddits on unsolved mysteries. That's fucking crazy. I like how these places exist,
Mhm.
But man, we got to get some eyes on this shit. Like the cops got to open source some of this info here. It's been 50 years. There are plenty of losers like myself who would love to go over that case file and kind of like they're not even like me. Like there's armchair detective dudes or entire fucking web sleuths. That whole website will tear apart that thing and try and find out something for this case. Yeah, there's probably not even a case file though. That's the this is where this is going to go into this case. The kids in foster care aren't really cared about that much in general. It's why their cases are rarely ever solved. I'll get more into that a little bit later, but there are a bunch of theories as to what happened to these kids from fucking people on the internet already. But before I get into all that, do you guys have any little theories? That's literally all the info on the internet. So, do you guys have any theories with the little amount of info I've given you? And then I'll give you all these other theories that people are spouting off on the internet.
So I'm gonna go first. I believe that they probably died in that foster place. I don't think I feel like after they escaped, they probably got in trouble, probably beaten. For him to be there for 2 weeks and just run away, that should tell you how bad it was there. I feel like he probably there underneath the ground somewhere. They didn't make it out there alive.
I don't disagree. I feel like that's probably the most likely scenario in this entire thing. What you guys got? Is that all you have to say on that? Because like,
Yeah,
there's a lot.
I mean, I agree because what institution's gonna want their dirty laundry to be aired out? And so it was probably already bad from the get-go. That's why they wanted to run away. And then once they came back, they probably got like really harsh punishment. And then somebody from there probably unalived them. That's what I'm thinking. And then too, like one of them was already sexually active. So to having his buddy, he felt like maybe they could start a life together and, like actually have fun. And I feel like that's the reason that they wanted to run away too, is they wanted their freedom. They wanted to do what they wanted to do.
100%.
So,
And you're getting of that age where you're starting to like explore the world. You feel more independent. You think like I can survive out in the real world. I'm big. I'm old now. I'm 14. You know what I mean?
and it's
Uh,
sad because they only had each other. It seems like their parents kind of gave up on them.
Chipley for sure. His parents died, I
Right.
think, and then
Yeah.
he had like foster parents in between. But like I'm gonna play devil's advocate a little bit on that, just for the sake of the episode. It sounds like James had parents that actually cared about him. This sounded like more of like a punishment to them. So maybe he just wanted to leave to go back home because he knew this place was like, whether it was good or bad, it's just not home. You know, like maybe it
Mhm.
wasn't this big. And then Chipley's like, "Can I come? Look at me. My name's Chipley. I'm heir to the Lay's Empire. It's me, Chipley. Bring me with you. I could be helpful."
Or Chipley probably knew the way around and the other boy did it. So he brought Chipley like, hey, can you show me how to get home? And Chipley's like, okay, I got you.
100%. RJ, do you have anything? I know it has something to do with Chipley.
A theory?
Do you want to wait till the end? Because I got a bunch of theories. Or do you want to do
Yeah,
it?
no, I mean, I was just gonna say that, like, like foster care is like a mess. So, like, it would make sense to me that like paperwork just got mixed up. So, like, somewhere there's like a kid going around with two first names, and that's how he ended up with Chipley Sanders. So, really, his name was probably like Bill or something. But like, they fucked up, and like
No matter
they
how.
don't care enough to like double check. So, yeah, I don't know. That's my theory. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, well, we'll talk more about that. That's one of the theories for sure. It's probably the most likely one, so I usually put it at the end. I got a bunch to go with that, but we'll go with like the more ridiculous things people are saying out there. So the first theory that I said, and we're just gonna work our way into more and more sad theories. So the first theory is the kids ran away, survived, and thrived. There's somebody out there that thinks that these kids ran away, joined the workforce at the ripe young age of 13, 14, and made a better lives for themselves because the foster care system sucks. Maybe on their own, they speculate it could be their own, or maybe they escaped to some unknown relative that they didn't want to tell that they took in the two boys because everybody else is psycho in their family, and they knew that. That's why they're in foster care to begin with. They live in some relative's house somewhere, hidden away from the rest of their families. Or here's a weaker theory on the kids thriving. A childless family found the two kids and secretly adopted them. Like, I mean, that could happen, right? It
Yeah,
happens all the time,
there's some
right?
happy theories.
That's what I mean.
But okay, with that, why would they go to the foster home? or
If
not
they,
directly to whoever adopted them or
that's why these are super weak. It's just
The horror movie twist of like the wonderful family coming to rescue them is that their last name is Dipley.
Chipley, Dipley, Chipley.
Get over the name.
It's never gonna fucking happen. You can't.
I think this is, like I said, it's just a fantasy theory. It's what families hope for when a kid ever goes missing, you know? Like I
right.
went to look for an example of something like this that has ever happened before where two kids disappeared and they just like joined a second family and like lived happily ever after. Couldn't find one. Not one anywhere. And maybe they do exist, but like it's not widely publicized just for whatever reason. So yeah, that's pretty weak theory, but it is out there. So the next theory that I found on the internet about this is that the kids ran away, survived, but most certainly did not thrive. So the kids ran away. They're 13, 14, obviously couldn't find a job, found themselves on the street, start stealing to eat, get into drugs, cope with the pain of being homeless, start not being able to steal enough to feed yourself and your habit, start turning tricks on the side, start to lose teeth, get a dog, either OD or starve to death, or sex slave or something super sad like that. This could also happen. It's it's not the fantasy theory that we want.
Mark.
Yeah,
It's it's super sad, but I mean it could happen.
right.
Yeah, that happened.
It's also weak as shit though, because at some point, well, I guess I don't know, they're kids. I was just like kids' bodies just don't go missing. You know what I mean? If somebody died for somebody would have found someone at some point. But
Right.
there's lots of John Does out there, I guess. Just kids usually stick out, you know.
And a lot of them get arrested, because they're underage and they get sent back to the group home.
Yeah.
For sure.
If a cop saw them at, the middle of the night, I understand that they were kind of tall, so they might have blended in. But I mean, once you hear them talk, you can kind of recognize that they're underage.
Then you're in the system. Then they know
Yeah,
exactly where you were, right?
exactly. Exactly.
So yeah, I find that weak too, just because you're right. To disappear into thin air is really rare unless someone's making you disappear into thin air, right?
And then the mother DNA's in the system, so if they did pass away, they could have like be a John Doe, but still they have their DNA in the system. They could have easily matched the mom and the John Doe together. So that's
Right.
yeah.
100%. I agree. The Dipley family is saving lives. It's my favorite theory so far. So next theory is that the kids run away but don't survive. So Ashland, Kentucky is located on the southern bank of the Ohio River. And a lot of people theorize that the Ohio River is a good escape route if you're an adult, like kids maybe not, but like there's barges running up and down the river all the time, all sorts of boats coming in and out of Ashland. River's a big river, big enough for trade to happen on it. So maybe the kids just thought they could catch a ride on the back of a barge or something. Maybe these kids thought they could just simply swim across the river, which would be deceptively hard, especially for kids. Like kids think they're invincible. You know what I mean? Like they go, I could swim that, and then maybe they just drown trying to get across. They're not invincible. And then I started looking up like how often do people drown in the Ohio River? And there's tons of articles going out, people trying to swim it, people trying to commit suicide in it. There is an event called that I did find that people do it all the time. It's called the Great Ohio River Swim. And most participants take about 20 minutes to swim the whole river from across. But this is highly like safeguarded by people on kayaks and lifeguards and stuff like that. So if someone gets tired, they'll just help them get across. Boat traffic stopped. You know, kids could have just went swimming and they got smoked by a boat. It's hard to see at night, especially on the lake. I don't know if anyone drives boats, but it's come up on you pretty fast. So most times there's many dangers swimming in the Ohio River, like hidden debris, river currents, commercial and recreational traffic. So maybe the boys tried to swim the river. Their bodies were just never found because they sank to the bottom. That I didn't think could happen, but then I started looking that up. It definitely could happen where bodies get sucked under the current and stuck on the bottom of the river for years upon years. In August 2024, two bodies were pulled out of the Ohio River 14 hours apart from each other near Cincinnati. Investigators say that the bodies were likely on the bottom of the river for quite a long time and were brought to the surface by a lot of boat activity in the area. The more you Google on that, the more you find. So some people are missing for months if not like a couple years before being found in the river. So kids dying in the river for whatever reason seems also like it could happen.
I can see it.
Were they able to identify the bodies that they found?
Yes. Yeah, one of them, see, I didn't go full deep dive into this. The one I was looking up, they did find the guy was somebody who unalived themselves 4 or 5 months prior. And then there's also like the pollution of the Ohio River. It's considered one of the most polluted rivers in the US. Nowadays, it's not as bad as it was in the 70s, but in the 70s, it was terrible. Historically, it's been a dumping ground for local cities and industries for like generations upon generations since the late 1800s. I don't know, maybe they just got super sick. They did make it across the river and they just got some sort of mutation or whatever. You know what I mean? Like just I don't know. The swimming across the river and dying is it could happen as well. It's
I
another
mean, it could, if you think about it, if they didn't want to go the same way they did last time because they got caught, they're like, okay, let's go over here with a boat set and try to swim. I mean, they're boys at that age. They don't really think, they're like, oh, we can do it.
100%. I have a child. I have a boy that age. I understand. 100%.
Just like, go for it.
Yeah, have fun. I'll be right here with the boat. So the last theory on this whole thing is that the kids never made it out of the group home, which you guys kind of said. Lots of people love this theory. It's not just us who go, yeah, that's most likely what it is. And people love this for a few reasons. So first reason is because the home never called James Bess's mom to inform her that her son was missing. Why in the fuck would you not tell the parent, especially if they're engaged? I understand that a lot of these foster homes or group homes or whatever have kids that have no one to contact. So it would be probably rare for a kid to have an actual parent who's like invested in their child. So you know that person, you have to tell them things because they're gonna come and ask questions. So for them not to say anything, it screams cover up of some sort, right?
Right.
The major theory as to why something happened to the kids is what you guys already brought it up, is that they tried to escape in the morning, got caught, and then they came back to some sort of retribution that either went too far or whatever. And yeah, they just buried them in the backyard of the group home or in the basement somewhere. And this stuff isn't new either. Canada, where I'm from, I live in Canada. We, in the past, I guess 2019 and before that, we had residential schools in Canada. I don't know if you guys know what that was, where they took the indigenous people here from in the
Okay.
1800s and they took them and put them into these homes like this out away from their families, from the reserves, took all the kids to like get their culture out of them, teach them the white man's way of fucking living. And Canada did this until the last residential school was closed in 1996. 1996. So they were stealing kids
No
off the
way.
reservation.
1996?
Yeah, when you were born.
That was the year I was born.
I think you solved the residential school thing. It was you, Sierra.
I did it.
Thank you.
Oh,
Recently enough, we've uncovered that some of these places, these residential schools, have actually had mass burial grounds with a bunch of kids that were just disappeared over time because they weren't either A, they weren't listening and trying to get back to their house, or B, just like wouldn't give in to the culture swap. They were too old or too stubborn or knew that this wasn't right and they got unalived in these little places.
Yeah.
The foster care thing is like I started looking up how many people go missing in foster care and group homes and stuff like that. And I'm not going to get too deep in the woods on this because I could do a full episode on this subject alone. There's story upon story, there's stats upon stats that conflict with each other. But the one thing that I did notice that is the same with all these stats, because they haven't done a lot of studies on this because no one cares. They've done a couple, but the thing is, some stats say like you're 10% more likely to be in an abusive home if you're in foster care. Some say 5, some say it's always more though.
right.
I'll tell you one story that I did get into this. So in BC, British Columbia, between the months of April and December 2002, over 500 kids went missing or ran away from government care facilities. That's 9 months of the year. According to a few of these studies, tens of thousands of teenage kids in foster care disappear every year. Some return, but many don't. And these teens that are disappearing, they just say they're close enough to getting out of here anyway, so just leave them. And they're in a higher risk to be sex trafficked or even worse. According to the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, there are over 391,000 kids in foster care in the US. I found a story where in 2001, a 5-year-old Florida girl named Rilia Wilson went missing from the social service system, never to be found again. So, like, how does that happen? These kids are amongst the most vulnerable and need to be protected more than they are. Unfortunately, since they're foster kids, they don't have an army of family rallying behind them. Usually, when we do these cases, and you guys have done enough episodes at this point, you notice that there's usually that one. If there's someone that cares, there's at least one person that's just hollering from the rooftop every time, trying to get someone to help them find their kid or their loved one. Most kids in foster care don't have this. Improvements in Florida, I know, have been made in this regard, especially after Rilia went missing. Florida enacted a new missing kids unit within the social services to track down missing foster kids. I know it's not perfect and it happened to 2021. There's still lots of kids going missing, but it's at least something. And like I said, I don't want to hit you guys with a million stats, but you could look up missing kids from foster care system. You'll see like there's hundreds of stories. And those are the ones that we know about. You know, there's definitely ones like Chipley and James that have just been swept under the rug and no one really cares because those kids have no one anyway. And it's super sad. This is why I'm saying this episode became the saddest shit because I started looking into like the saddest of people that I like and I don't want this to be the way it is. It's just it is what it is and we need to I don't know, do something more for these foster kids. It's really sad.
Right.
I really want to know what the policeman wrote down in their investigation, like what notes, who was bothering them, or what was the reason that they wanted to run away. You know, just anything that they took report of.
That's really what the okay. If you go on like there's one website, I forgot what it's called exactly. I had to look it up for 1 second. Doesn't matter what it is. Anyways, the one website they have a phone number you can call if you have any information. Call, and apparently a bunch of people called them. And they said the police say they have a file on these kids, but that's it. That's all we know. We don't know what the file says.
They haven't released.
They should release it though. It's 50 years. We
Right.
don't know at this point. They're probably not alive. There's a low chance of it. But if it does come about that these kids did get picked up by someone or something like that, it would be awesome for at least James's mom to know. Chipley's sibling, if she's still around. What would Chipley's sibling's name be, RJ?
Dorito.
I don't
We
know.
don't know for
Probably
real.
like Dave or Martin or
They just named one kid super fucked up.
something normal because nobody is actually named that fucking name.
You don't believe it.
Oh God. So I tried to look up stats on how many kids are abused or murdered in group homes or foster care each year. Guess what I came up with? Not much. A few studies, but they don't seem very definitive. It seems like the data is not being compiled in a way that compares numbers. Like it's super high-minded for statisticians and shit. It's hard to figure out exactly. It does say that people in foster care get abused at a higher rate. I said that already. Most of the times, the kids, when they go missing, they do come back. And most of the times, the people that, when they go missing, it's their actual parents coming to steal them out of the foster care.
Wow.
They're being stolen from the foster care system. They're being taken out of that house for a reason because they're probably being abused in some way. So the kids end up getting stolen, kidnapped by their own parent, and then abused even worse. So it's even worse when the parent comes and gets them. I don't know. What I do know is the kids aren't getting the representation and care that they should be from general society. Hence why I said this episode was super sad. So thank you, Lesbian Detectives, for bringing us the saddest story of the year, I think. So far, I like it.
Welcome.
Thing. Do you think maybe their files get buried because it's another government department and, you know, they really don't want that getting out there?
Honestly,
They want to keep the money.
oh, that's another angle I didn't even think of, the money side. But like, I think you might be. Obviously, these guys back each other. Cops back each other. Between interagency, people will back each other as to the general public anyway, especially. I know internally they'll probably bicker about this shit, but like, I don't think the cops are covering it up for that reason though. I think it's more they don't really have much to go on because everyone in that everyone in that group home knows what happened and they don't want to go to jail for whatever the fuck happened, so they're just keeping their mouth fucking shut, or literally the kids ran away and just disappeared somewhere, which could happen too. I don't think the cops are backing anybody, but I do think that shit happens. Like I'm with you, but in this case, I don't really think so. I just think it's probably embarrassing how little they have on this entire thing and how much effort they actually put into it. So they don't want to release it to be like, the kids went missing. That's like the notebook. That's it. Kids gone. And then that's your file you have.
Close it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you would expect them to make changes after they lost two boys, you know? Tighten up on security, maybe
100%.
do more background checks on the people they like.
One of the major things I started with this case after I realized there's like very little info on this entire thing, I started looking up that group home. And that's why I started going on and I was trying to see if there's like a history of like kids being abused in there or like a headmaster that made kids disappear or whatever, some crazy shit like that. Nothing. Like it's wild to me. It's wild how little eyes get put on these kids in foster. It makes no sense. You get higher eyes on just a regular John Doe who literally has no family until they're found. And some days you'll see like cold cases of these unidentified bodies getting solved because somebody was like, there's 7 John Does in our county, and I'm gonna go figure out who they are. And they care about them more than the actual foster kids that went missing, in my opinion, which is nuts.
And what's to say that they actually disappeared the day that they said they disappeared?
Exactly. It has to be. There is a police report that they did tell them about where the kid went missing that day. So it could have been missing like 3 days after that for sure. But there's a small time window between when the kid went missing and when the mom called. So he was only apparently in the group home for 2 weeks and his mom called in 2 weeks. So it's days. It's like 2 or 3 days he went missing within those couple days, right? And that's just deduction. That's not even like, I'm sure that if the cops made they'd have like some sort of timeline that probably not.
They wouldn't try that same night if you think about it. The kid was like, okay, let's wait until a better time. They wouldn't like retry that soon to run away.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah, unless opportunity presented itself, but you're right. I think you'd wait a couple days, get a better plan. So I wholehearted, like, if I'm gonna be honest, what I really, really think is I think those kids got probably killed by somebody that worked in there, and then everyone just covered it up because it could be a money thing. Like if we have to say we're gonna close this whole down, then all the kids suffer, not just this one kid. Like you know how they, I don't know, make up their own fucking justifications for doing crazy shit. But I don't know. Very sad, these 2 kids. I feel bad, and I wish the cops like that at the end of this, like if anyone is in Kentucky or in Ashland or whatever, just go pressure the cops to give the file up or whatever. If I'm a Canadian, I can't go there and I can't do all this stuff.
Right.
But it does bother me that it exists. It bothers me that these kids are known about and no one's doing anything ever. It doesn't look like anyone's doing anything.
I wonder about the other kids that was there. Like at that time, I wonder if they ever will come out and tell their story of what happened at that place. Because they would know. They were like, yeah, so they treated us this way, they did this to us. And the boys that went missing, oh, they in the backyard. They would have a lot more information.
That is true.
That's actually a very good, like, now I'm not saying we have this huge listener base, but I mean, if anybody's in Kentucky and was at the Ashland group home around that time, I don't want to talk to you. I want you to talk to police or something if there's anything nefarious going on. Talk to me too, but I'll just forward you to the cops anyway.
Mm-hmm.
You guys got to step forward. I agree. Those people that were in there probably know a lot more because it can't be just those. There's got to be a kid that knows. You're right. There's got to be a child or a child back then who knows something.
Because a lot of what's coming out right now is about the camps. I don't know if you heard about Paris Hilton, that she went into some type of camp and then
yes.
they were really, yeah. So people are speaking about it now. So now would be a good time to say, hey, this is what happened, or this is what I experienced at XYZ.
For sure. Those boot camps are crazy, eh? Oh my God.
Yes.
Teen boot camps there. Your parents are sending you a military camp or whatever. Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
Very abusive. Actually, a thing coming out on Netflix in the next couple of days about that, eh? Pretty sure.
I'm not sure.
I don't watch documentaries.
I watch them.
She watched them.
But I watch them when they're out already.
All right, RJ, what do you think, pal? Got anything last words for this? Because it's pretty much.
I think I've said enough about the fucking chip thing. So.
Okay. So how do we solve this? What's the solve? They died? We solve all the cases, by the way. It's not.
Yeah, they got killed by but first he killed the murderer killed Chipley, and then he only killed James because once you pop, you just can't stop.
Oh.
Thanks for coming to guest. You guys are super awesome. You guys are super nice. Is there anything you guys want to like I know we kind of talked about your podcast and stuff before, but is there anything you guys want me to tack on to get you guys get some more listeners if we can do that?
I don't either.
You guys got a case coming up that you want to tell them? Give a little preview of something you guys got brewing?
I think our Valentine's one is not going to be our best one to me. I feel like every case is important, but this one, yeah, it's a lot of trigger warnings, a lot of them.
Oh, good. Like trigger
So
warnings, like
yeah,
this kind of podcast trigger warnings, or like trigger warnings, there's going to be a lot of blood.
yeah, that
Okay,
a
cool.
lot of blood.
That's awesome. It was awesome to have you guys come subcontract. Usually I ask for payment, but I think we owe you money at this point because you guys
We solved
we
it.
we hired you to solve this time. RJ, you want to give him a couple bucks? I'll pay you back, I promise.
We do have this box of assorted fun-sized bags of chips.
Yeah, that's perfect. Seems appropriate. What do you girls think? You guys want some
Chips, yeah, we'll love some chips.
Chipley.
Chipleys.
Cool.
Chipleys.
I just watched Private Dicks and I think RJ's the funniest.
What? Come on.